200 years ago, Earth was a beautiful planet. Humans lived in peace. They had families. They had dreams. Then the sky opened and the aliens came. They called themselves the Galactic Council. 12 different alien races arrived in massive ships. Their leader was a tall creature named Zelther. He had blue skin and 6 arms. He spoke to the leaders of Earth with a gentle voice. "We come in peace," he said. "We want to help humanity join the stars. We will give you technology. We will give you medicine. We will make you part of our great family." The humans believed him. Why would they not trust beings who crossed the stars to help them? It was the biggest mistake in human history. The aliens did give technology. They gave machines that could cure any disease. They gave ships that could travel faster than light. But there was a price. The technology had something hidden inside. Small devices that released special chemicals into the air. Humans breathed these chemicals every day. Slowly their DNA began to change. Their minds became easier to control. Their bodies became stronger, but they became weaker. Within 10 years, the aliens showed their true face. The Galactic Council declared that humans were now a servant race. Every human had to wear a neural collar around their neck. These collars could cause terrible pain with just one button press. Any human who refused to obey was killed. Families were torn apart. Children were taken from their parents and sent to different worlds. Earth became a factory, a farm, a prison. Marcus Reed was just a boy when this happened. He watched his father get killed for refusing to work. He watched his mother cry until she had no tears left. He was sent to the mining colonies of Arcturus 7. There he worked 18 hours every day digging crystals from frozen ground. The cold burned his skin. The work broke his body. But it did not break his spirit. In that mine, Marcus met others. Humans who still remembered what freedom felt like. They whispered in the dark. They made plans. They called themselves the Underground. Marcus joined them. He learned to fight. He learned to think like the enemy. He became so good at pretending to be a broken slave that the aliens trusted him. Years passed. Marcus rose through the ranks. The aliens thought he was loyal. They gave him important jobs. They let him travel between worlds. They never suspected that he was gathering information. He was counting their ships. He was learning their weaknesses. He was building a network of human spies across 47 worlds. 20 years of planning led to this moment. Marcus had let himself get captured on purpose. This prison was the heart of the Galactic Council security system. Inside this prison was a computer that controlled every neural collar in the galaxy. Marcus needed to get inside this prison. He needed to reach that computer. Now, he sat in his cell waiting. The guards walked past him laughing. One guard was a Zelther with green scales. He stopped at Marcus' cell and smiled with sharp teeth. "You humans are so pathetic," he said. "You were born to serve us. You will die serving us. Your children will serve us forever." Marcus looked up at the guard. His eyes were calm. His voice was steady. "We will see," he said. The guard laughed and walked away. He did not see the small device hidden under Marcus' skin. A device that was counting down. A device that would change everything. Marcus closed his eyes. In his mind, he saw Earth. He saw his family. He saw billions of humans waiting for a signal. Phase 1 was complete. He was inside the prison. Tomorrow Phase 2 would begin. Dr. Sarachin stood in her laboratory on the planet Nexus Prime. Her hands moved quickly over alien computers. She was working on genetic experiments for the Zelther Empire. The Zelther were the most powerful race in the Galactic Council. They had red eyes and bodies covered in silver scales. They used humans for their most dangerous experiments. Sarah had been a scientist on Earth before the enslavement. She had a daughter named Maya. On the day the collars came, Maya was only 5 years old. The Zelther took Maya away. They said she would be trained as a servant on their home world. Sarah never saw her daughter again. That was 15 years ago. The pain never stopped. But Sarah learned to hide her pain behind a mask of obedience. The Zelther believed Sarah was loyal. They gave her access to their most secret research. They wanted her to make humans even better slaves. They wanted humans who could survive in space without suits. Humans who could work without sleep. Humans who would never think of freedom. Sarah pretended to work on these goals. But in secret she was studying something else. Every night after the Zeltari guards left, Sarah would access the restricted files. She studied human DNA. She compared it to alien DNA. What she found shocked her. The chemicals the aliens used to control humans had changed human genetics. But the changes were not what the aliens thought. Yes, humans became physically stronger. Yes, their bodies healed faster. But something else happened too. Something the aliens never noticed. Human brains were evolving. The same chemicals that made bodies stronger were making minds sharper. Humans were developing resistance to the neural collars. Not complete resistance, but enough. Enough to think clearly. Enough to plan. Enough to remember who they were before the chains. Sarah ran the test 5 times. The results were always the same. Humanity was adapting. Evolution was turning slavery into strength. Sarah knew she had to share this information. But how could she contact the underground? The Zeltari watched everything. Every message was scanned. Every conversation was recorded. Then she remembered something her father taught her when she was young. He was a musician. He taught her that music could carry hidden messages, patterns and sound that only trained ears could hear. Sarah began composing music. She called it her relaxation hobby. The Zeltari did not care what slaves did in their free time, as long as work was completed. She created complex musical pieces. Inside the music, she had data, genetic codes, research findings, proof that humanity could break free. She broadcast her music on public channels that humans across the galaxy could access. 3 months passed. Sarah did not know if anyone received her message. Then one day a new human worker arrived at her laboratory. His name was David. He was young with dark skin and bright eyes. He worked cleaning the floors. On his second day, David hummed a song while mopping. It was one of Sarah's songs, but he hummed it backwards. Sarah's heart raced. She waited until they were alone. She hummed the next sequence. David stopped working. He looked at her and nodded once. That night, David slipped a small device into her pocket. It was a communicator, untraceable, built from stolen alien parts. Sarah returned to her quarters and activated it. A voice spoke. It was rough and tired but strong. "This is Commander Marcus Reed," the voice said. "Your research has reached us, Dr. Chun. You have given humanity hope. We are ready. The underground has been preparing for this moment for decades. We have weapons. We have ships. We have soldiers on every enslaved world. But we needed proof that we could survive without the collars. You gave us that proof." Sarah's hand shook. She whispered into the device. "When do we strike?" Marcus' voice came back steady and sure. "Soon," he said. "Very soon. Keep working. Keep pretending. When the moment comes, you will know. Every human will know. We have one chance to free our people. We cannot fail." The communicator went silent. Sarah sat in darkness, thinking about Maya. Was her daughter still alive? Would she recognize Sarah after 15 years? Would they ever see Earth again? Questions with no answers. But now there was something else. Something Sarah had not felt in years. Hope. Days turned into weeks. Sarah continued her work. She smiled at the Zeltari guards. She followed every order. But inside she was counting down. She studied the security systems. She memorized guard rotations. She prepared for the day when the collars would stop working. When that day came, the Zeltari would learn that their loyal scientist was their greatest enemy. The underground was born in the mining colonies of Arcturus 7, that frozen hell where humans died by the thousands digging crystals from ice. In those dark tunnels where alien guards never walked, humans began to talk. They shared memories of Earth. They shared stories of freedom. They shared something more dangerous than any weapon. They shared hope. The first leader of the underground was a woman named Victoria Stone. She was a soldier before the enslavement. She knew how to fight. She knew how to organize. In the mine, she gathered 12 humans she trusted, former soldiers, engineers, teachers, people who remembered what it meant to be human. They made a plan that would take generations to complete. Victoria understood one truth. Humanity could not win with violence alone. The Galactic Council had millions of ships, billions of soldiers, weapons that could destroy planets. Humans had nothing but their minds and their will. So Victoria decided to use exactly that. If aliens wanted slaves, then humans would be the best slaves in history. So good that aliens would trust them with everything. The plan was simple but required patience. Humans would work harder than any other species. They would learn alien languages faster. They would master alien technology better. They would become so valuable that aliens could not function without them. And while the aliens grew, dependent humans would quietly prepare for freedom. Marcus Reed joined the underground when he was 16 years old. He was working in the mines when Victoria found him. She saw something in his eyes, a fire that slavery could not extinguish. She trained him personally. She taught him to think 10 steps ahead. She taught him that every moment of suffering was building toward victory. When Victoria died 5 years later, Marcus took her place. Under Marcus' leadership, the underground grew. It spread to every world where humans were enslaved. Communication was the biggest challenge. The Galactic Council monitored all transmissions. Any suspicious message meant death. So humans became creative. They used old methods from Earth history. They had messages and songs like Saracen did. They used hand signals. They created codes inside the work reports they filed every day. A human mining supervisor on Kepler 9 would report crystal yields using specific numbers. Those numbers were actually coordinates. A human servant in a council member's house would arrange furniture in patterns. Those patterns told other humans which ships were leaving and when. A human soldier forced to fight in alien wars would paint symbols on his armor. Those symbols shared battlefield tactics that humans across the galaxy would study. The underground had 3 main goals. First, gather intelligence. Learn everything about alien technology. Find every weakness in their security. Map every ship route. Count every weapon. Second, steal resources. Not enough to be noticed, but enough to build. Humans working in weapons factories would sabotage 1 bullet out of every 1,000. Humans in shipyards would copy blueprints. Humans in research labs would steal data and send it through hidden networks. Third, and most important, train soldiers. The Galactic Council often used humans as soldiers in their wars. They thought humans were expandable, perfect for dangerous missions. What the Council did not know was that every human soldier was learning alien combat tactics, learning how to pilot alien ships, learning how to think like warriors instead of slaves. When these soldiers returned from war, they trained others in secret, in the dark hours between work shifts. Millions of humans learned to fight. Marcus spent 20 years building the network. He traveled between worlds pretending to be a loyal supervisor. The aliens gave him security clearances because he seemed so obedient. He used those clearances to access restricted areas. He copied files. He memorized layouts. He recruited humans in positions of power. Humans who worked as translators for council members. Humans who maintained life support systems on military stations. Humans who had access to the most dangerous weapons in the galaxy. The hardest part was patience. Young humans wanted to fight immediately. They wanted revenge for parents killed, for children stolen, for lives destroyed. Marcus had to teach them that rage without planning was suicide. He showed them Victoria vision, a vision of humanity not just surviving, but winning completely. Winning so totally that aliens would never dare enslave anyone again. By year 190, the Underground had assets on all 47 enslaved worlds. They had weapons hidden in asteroid fields, ships disguised as mining vessels, communication networks the Council could not detect. Most importantly, they had something no slave race ever had before. They had detailed plans for simultaneous uprisings across the entire galaxy. When the moment came, billions of humans would strike at once. No warning, no mercy, just freedom. Marcus knew the key to everything was in neural collars. As long as those collars worked, humans could be stopped with one button press. He needed someone inside the Council security network, someone who could access the master control system. That was why he spent 5 years getting himself arrested on purpose. He committed small crimes. He made himself look like a rebel. The council put him in their maximum security prison exactly as he planned. Now Marcus sat in that prison cell with the master computer 3 levels below him. In his network of spies, Sarah Chun had just confirmed that humans were genetically ready. Their bodies could survive without the collars. The technology was ready. The soldiers were ready. The time had come. Marcus Reed stood in his prison cell counting the seconds. Around him, 200 human prisoners waited in silence. Some were former soldiers. Some were engineers. Some were just people who refused a break. All of them knew what was coming. 3 levels below Marcus, the master computer controlling every neural collar in the galaxy hummed quietly. In 5 minutes, that computer would receive a very special signal. On the other side of the galaxy, Sarah Chin sat in her laboratory on Nexus Prime. She had spent the last 6 hours preparing. She downloaded every file about Zeltari military operations. She memorized the locations of weapon storage. She identified which guards would be on duty at dawn. Now she waited by the window, watching the sky turn from black to gray. Her hands were steady. Her mind was clear. 15 years of pretending to be broken were about to end. On 47 worlds, millions of humans prepared in silence. In the mining colonies of Arcturus 7. In the factory cities of Proxima Station. In the agricultural farms of Tau Ceti. In the military bases where humans were forced to fight alien wars. Everywhere humans stopped working. They stood still. They watched the sky, waiting for the signal that would change everything. The device under Marcus' skin reached 0. A pulse of energy shot through the prison network. It traveled through every computer system, every communication line, every security protocol. The pulse carried a virus created by human programmers over 50 years. A virus designed for one purpose: to shut down the neural collar network permanently. On every world, the collars beeped once, then went silent, then fell off. 7 billion humans reached up and touched their necks. For the first time in 200 years, there was no collar, no pain, no control, just skin, just freedom. For 3 seconds, the galaxy was completely silent. Then the uprising began. In the prison, Marcus moved first. He grabbed the metal bars of his cell and pulled. His body was strong from years of forced labor. The bars bent. Other humans did the same. Cells opened. 200 prisoners poured into the corridor. Alien guards turned in shock. They reached for their collar controls. Pressed buttons. Nothing happened. The guards' faces showed confusion. Then fear. Marcus spoke calmly. "You treated us like animals. Now see what animals can do when they are free." The humans attacked. They had no weapons, but they did not need weapons. 200 years of rage exploded in that corridor. Guards fell. Alarm screamed. But it was too late. The prisoners took guard weapons. They moved through the prison like a storm. Every door opened. Every human prisoner freed. Within 10 minutes, Marcus controlled the entire facility. On Nexus Prime, Sarah walked out of her laboratory. Zeltari guards saw her, without a collar, and shouted. She smiled. One guard raised his weapon. Sarah was faster. She had been studying Zeltari combat moves for 15 years. She knew exactly where their weak spots were. The guard went down. Sarah took his weapon. Other humans working in the research facility joined her. Scientists, janitors, cooks, all of them tired of serving, all of them ready to fight. The Zeltari tried to organize a defense. They had weapons. They had armor. But they had never fought humans who were not afraid. Sarah's group moved to a facility taking control of security systems. They locked Zeltari soldiers in their own barracks. They accessed communication arrays. They sent messages to human resistance cells across the planet. Within an hour, every major city on Nexus Prime was in chaos. Across the galaxy, the same scene repeated on 47 worlds. In the mining colonies, humans seized control of equipment. They turned mining lasers into weapons. They used cargo ships to attack guard stations. In the factory cities, humans activated machines and turned them against their former masters. In agricultural zones, humans poisoned food, supplies meant for alien armies. The Galactic Council watched in horror from their central command station. Screens showed uprisings on every enslaved world simultaneously. Admiral Thex was a Krillian with 4 eyes and blue skin. He commanded the Council Defense Forces. He stared at the screens, unable to believe what he was seeing. "This is impossible," he said. "Slaves do not organize. Slaves do not plan. How did they do this?" His assistant was a tall alien with tentacles for arms. "Sir," the assistant said, "we are receiving reports that humans have been preparing this for decades. They had networks, hidden weapons, training programs. We never detected any of it." Admiral Thex felt cold fear in his chest. "Send every available ship," he ordered. "Crush these rebellions immediately. Kill as many as needed. Show them what happens when slaves forget their place." But the Council ships were too slow. Humans had planned for this. On Titan Station, orbiting Saturn, hundreds of human workers had spent years secretly modifying defense systems. When Council ships arrived to crush, the uprising the station weapons turned on them. Missiles launched. Energy beams fired. 3 Council warships exploded before they understood what was happening. The remaining ships retreated in panic. Marcus reached the master computer room in the prison. He downloaded every file about Council military operations, fleet positions, weapon capabilities, strategic plans, everything the Council thought was secret. He uploaded this data to the human network. Within minutes, resistance cells across the galaxy had information they needed to strike harder. Sarah stood on top of the Nexus Prime research facility. Below her, the city burned. Zelthree forces were trying to retake the planet, but humans were fighting with knowledge earned through 2 centuries of observation. They knew Zelthree battle formations. They knew which buildings had weak points. They knew exactly how to turn the aliens' own infrastructure against them. Sarah activated a communication device. "This is Dr. Sarah Chun to all human forces. The collars are gone. The chains are broken. Now we show them what humanity truly is." Admiral Thex received casualty reports from across the galaxy. Thousands of aliens dead. Hundreds of facilities captured. Dozens of ships destroyed. In one day, humanity had damaged the Galactic Council more than any war in history. Thex looked at his officers. "How many humans are fighting?" he asked. The answer came back. "All of them, sir. Every human on every world. 7 billion soldiers who all knew exactly what to do." Admiral Thex stood in the Council war room, surrounded by holographic displays. Every screen showed defeat. The mining colonies were lost. The factory world were lost. Even some military stations had fallen. He looked at the other Council members. 12 different alien species sat around a massive table. For the first time in history, they looked afraid. "We underestimated them," Thex said. "We thought removing their collars would make them weak. We thought without our control they would fall apart. Instead, they became stronger." A Council member named Vorith spoke. Vorith was a man with 6 legs and compound eyes. His species was known for cruelty. "Stronger," he said with anger in his voice. "They are slaves. Animals. How can animals defeat us?" Thex pulled up battlefield recordings. The hologram showed human soldiers fighting on the planet Zirian 4. Council forces outnumbered them 5 to 1. Council forces had better weapons, better armor, better training. But the humans won. The recording showed why. Humans fought with tactics the Council had never seen. They used the environment. They set traps. They attacked and vanished like ghosts. Most terrifying of all, they never stopped. Even wounded humans kept fighting until their last breath. "Watch this," Thex said. He showed a recording of a human soldier surrounded by 10 Council warriors. The human had no weapon. He was bleeding from multiple wounds. Any rational being would surrender. Instead, the human smiled. He spoke one word: "Remember." Then he detonated an explosive hidden on his body. He died, but he took all 10 Council soldiers with him. The Council members watching fell silent. Vorith broke the silence. "We must crush them completely. Send everything we have. Burn their worlds. Show them that rebellion means extinction." But another Council member disagreed. Zalera was a Luminov with glowing skin and 3 eyes. Her species valued wisdom. "We tried that," she said. "We sent our best fleets to retake Arcturus 7. The humans destroyed them. We sent ground forces to Proxima Station. The humans killed them all. Every time we attack, we lose more ships, more soldiers. We are not fighting slaves anymore. We are fighting something else. What are you saying Vorth demanded? Are you suggesting we negotiate with animals? Zalera looked at him calmly. I am suggesting we made a terrible mistake 200 years ago. We thought we were enslaving a primitive species. We were wrong. Humans are predators. We just never saw it because we put chains on them before they could show us what they truly are. On Earth, Marcus Reed walked through the ruins of New York City. Humans had retaken their home world 2 weeks ago. The Council forces there surrendered after 3 days of fighting. They realized they could not win against humans defending their own planet. Marcus stood in front of a broken monument. It was the old United Nations building. Before the enslavement, this was where Earth leaders met to discuss peace. Marcus remembered his father bringing him here as a child. Around him, thousands of humans worked to rebuild. They cleared rubble. They planted crops. They set up schools for children who had never seen Earth before. But Marcus knew this peace would not last. The Council still had thousands of ships, millions of soldiers. They would come back. Humanity needed to be ready. Saracen arrived by transport ship. She had left Nexus Prime to join Marcus on Earth. She brought with her something valuable. Data, years of genetic research, information about every Council species, their weaknesses, their biology, their fears. Marcus and Sarah stood together looking at the data. This changes everything Marcus said. Sarah nodded. The Council thinks they are superior because they are older, more advanced. But I found something in my research. Humans adapt faster than any species in the galaxy. Our bodies evolved on a harsh world. We survived ice ages, predators, diseases. We learned to overcome anything. The Council species evolved on easy worlds. They never had a struggle like we did. Marcus understood. That is why they break when we fight back. They have never faced real resistance. Sarah smiled. Exactly. And there is more. Human adrenaline gives us strength in combat. Our pain tolerance is higher. Our ability to heal is faster. We were designed by evolution to survive. The Council thought they were enslaving workers. They enslaved warriors. News came from across the galaxy. Human forces had captured the Zeltari colony world of Terminus Prime. It was a major victory. The Zeltari were the strongest Council race. If humanity could defeat them, the others would fall. Marcus called a meeting of all human commanders. They gathered in a secured location. Hundreds of leaders from 47 worlds. Marcus stood before them. We have won many battles, he said. But the war is not over. The Council will send everything they have against us. We must be ready. But we will not just defend. We're going to attack. We're going to take their home worlds. We're going to show them what happens when you enslave humanity. The commanders cheered. But one woman stood up. She was older with gray hair and scars covering her face. Her name was Commander Rita Moss. She fought in the initial uprisings on Kepler 9. Rita spoke carefully. We want revenge. We deserve revenge. But Marcus, we must be better than them. If we become monsters to defeat monsters, then we lose what makes us human. Marcus respected Rita. She was right. He addressed the group again. We will offer terms, he said. Any Council species that surrenders and agrees to peace can live, but any species that continues to fight will face total war. We will show mercy to those who deserve it, but we will show none to those who tortured us for 200 years. The plan was set. Humanity would strike at 3 Council homeworlds simultaneously. The Zeltari homeworld, Zelthar Prime. The Krillian homeworld, Krillos. The Mantid homeworld, Mantara. These 3 species led the enslavement. If they fell, the others would surrender. Marcus assigned commanders to each target. Sarah would lead scientists to develop weapons specifically designed to fight each species' biology. Admiral Thex received intelligence reports about human movements. His analysts predicted the targets. He called an emergency council meeting. The humans are coming for our homeworlds, he said. We must defend them with everything we have. Vorth agreed. Finally, they will face our full military might. They will learn their place. But Zalera looked worried. "We have been saying that for 3 weeks," she said. "And every time we are wrong. What if they are better at war than us? What if we cannot win?" Vorth slammed his appendage on the table. "Impossible. We are the Galactic Council. We have ruled for 5,000 years. No slave race can defeat us." Admiral Thex watched the countdown on his display. 48 hours since the human ultimatum. 48 hours of preparing defenses around the 3 target worlds. Zelthar Prime, Krylos, Mantara. Each world had orbital defense platforms. Each world had hundreds of warships protecting it. Each world had armies ready to fight. Thex felt confident. Let the humans come, he thought. We will destroy them. The countdown reached 0. Thex sensors showed nothing. No human ships. No attacks. He smiled. They were bluffing, he said to his officers. Slaves making empty threats. But then something appeared on the sensors. Something impossible. 300 ships materialized around Zelthar Prime. But these were not stolen council ships. These were human designs. Ships built in hidden shipyards in the dark spaces between stars. Thex stared in shock. Where did they get those ships? His science officer checked the readings. Sir, these ships are using technology we have never seen. Power signatures are off the scale. They have combined our technology with something else. Something new. Before Thex could respond to human ships, open fire. The weapons were devastating. Human engineers had studied council shields for decades. They knew exactly how to break them. Energy beams punched through defense platforms like paper. Missiles curved around countermeasures with impossible precision. In the first 5 minutes of battle, Zelthar Prime lost half its orbital defenses. The Zelthari commanders panicked. Return fire, they screamed. Destroy them. But the human ships moved differently than council vessels. They were faster, more agile. They worked together like a single organism. When Zelthari ships focused on one human vessel 3, others would attack from different angles. When defense platforms targeted human fighters, the larger ships would provide cover. It was coordination beyond anything the Council had seen. On the bridge of the human flagship Marcus, Reed watched the battle unfold. His tactical officer called out targets. His weapons officer fired with precision. Around him the crew worked in perfect harmony. They had trained for this moment their entire lives. Every simulation, every drill, every sacrifice, all of it led to this battle. Sarah Chun sat in the science station. She monitored Zelthari communication networks. She had hacked into their systems weeks ago. Now she listened to their panic, their confusion, their fear. She activated a special weapon, something she designed specifically for Zelthari biology. It was a sonic frequency that disrupted their neural pathways. Not lethal, but incapacitating. The frequency broadcast across Zelthari ships.